Ever thought you were saying an English word right until a native speaker said it and it sounded nothing like yours? Welcome to the world of English pronunciation fails. Today, we're breaking down 10 of the most mispronounced English words by non-native speakers. From comfortable to entrepreneur, we'll show you how real people say them in American, British, and Aussie accents. If you want to sound fluent and confident, hit subscribe now and stick with us until the whole video.
You ever just look at a word and think you've got it down pat? You know, you can say it, you can spell it, you know what it means.
Yeah.
And then you hear someone actually say it out loud and you're like,
Yeah.
hold on a minute, what was that?
Totally.
Is that even the same word?
Especially in English, right?
All right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful language, so much to explore, but it's definitely got its quirks
It does.
when it comes to pronunciation.
Yeah, like what you see on the page doesn't always match what you hear.
Right.
And especially for folks learning English as a second language or, maybe a third or fourth language.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest hurdles.
Oh, it's got to be so tricky. Right.
It is.
But you know what? That's exactly why we're here today.
We are.
This is going to be a deep dive that's all about practicality.
That's right.
We're tackling some of the most commonly mispronounced words in English.
The ones that trip people up.
Oh, yeah, those tricky ones.
Yeah.
So think of this as like a personal pronunciation coach in your ear to help you sound more natural, more confident, more like a native speaker.
That's the goal.
So our mission today, we're diving into 10 specific words that always seem to cause a bit of confusion.
Yes.
And we're not just going to tell you how to say them properly. We're also going to get into like why.
Right.
Why these words have such a disconnect between their spelling and their sound.
And it gets even more interesting when you start looking at different accents.
Yeah.
Because English isn't just one thing, right? You've got American English, British English, Australian English.
And they all have their own little nuances.
They do.
And luckily, our sources today, they actually highlight a lot of those key differences.
Yeah, we'll be drawing on those.
So you can really get a feel for how these words are pronounced in various parts of the English-speaking world.
A well-rounded view.
Awesome. So let's jump right in, shall we? Our first word, a word we use pretty much every day. Comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah.
And you see it spelled out. Comfortable.
Right.
Seems pretty straightforward.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
4 syllables, comfortable, right.
Yep.
But here's the thing.
Yeah, there's a twist.
In spoken English,
Yes.
that middle syllable, it tends to, well,
It takes a little vacation.
it kind of disappears, doesn't it?
It does. It gets reduced. It's called vowel reduction in unstressed syllables.
It's like magic. It just vanishes.
It does.
So in the U.S., for instance, you'll most commonly hear comfortable.
Yeah, that or sound in the middle.
Con.
It's gone.
And then if you hop across the pond to the U.K. or even down under to Australia,
You're more likely to hear mf-table. Yeah.
yeah, still reducing that middle syllable.
But that first vowel sound changes a bit too.
It does. It becomes more of a, something like a schwa.
And the Australian pronunciation, from what our sources say, it's pretty close to the UK one.
Yeah, very similar.
Maybe with like a tiny bit more of a nasal quality to it.
Yeah, I can hear that.
So for our listeners out there, if you really want to nail this word, here's a tip. Try saying it with just 3 syllables instead of 4.
Yeah, ditch that middle one. Get rid of it.
So instead of comfortable, go for UMF turbo or QUMF turbo.
Exactly.
Try it out in a sentence like, this couch is really comfortable.
Its couch is really comfortable.
It feels different, right?
It does.
But that's how native speakers actually say it in everyday conversation.
All about ease of pronunciation and speed.
Right.
We tend to streamline words we use a lot.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for word number 2?
Hit me with it.
It's another one that trips people up.
Wednesday.
Wednesday? Oh, yeah.
Spell it out. Wdnesday.
A mouthful.
Looks like it should be Wednesday, right?
Yeah, that's the logical pronunciation.
But once again,
Spoken English has other plans.
it does.
It does. It gets a bit squashed.
It does. It gets compressed.
So in both American and British English, the most common pronunciation you'll hear is Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
The D and the Ds, they kind of get mushed together,
They become one.
almost disappear,
And Australian English, very similar.
but often with a slightly different ending.
Right. So they say Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yep. And that last vowel's a bit lighter, quicker.
That's kind of funny, isn't it?
It is. You start with Wednesday and end up with Wednesday. or WinZD.
It might feel strange at first.
Yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to.
But you know what? Our source mentioned that once you get the hang of it,
It sticks with you.
it sticks. Yeah, you start hearing it everywhere.
You do. It's like you've unlocked a secret code.
Exactly. And it just goes to show that written and spoken English, they have their own separate sets of rules almost.
They really do.
Okay, on to our next word. This one is a month that I think consistently causes pronunciation problems. February.
What's the catch with this one?
Oh, it's that sneaky R.
The R.
Yeah, the one in the first syllable.
Oh, you mean in the spelling?
Yeah, you see it there, February. But when people actually say the word,
Right.
it often goes missing.
The R takes
Yeah.
another vacation. It does. It's either completely silent or just barely there.
So a lot of learners, they'll pronounce it February, giving that R its moment in the sun.
It makes sense. It's how it's spelled.
Yeah, but our source points out that the more common pronunciations, they actually ditch the R.
They do.
So in the U.S., you'll often hear Ebue.
And often, even that last R in a re gets softened or dropped completely.
So it becomes almost like Ebue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then over the UK, you're likely to hear either ebiruri
Ebure.
or eburi.
So they might keep the R in the second syllable.
But that final R is still often quite soft or absent.
Yeah.
And down in Australia, they typically say eburi.
Ebure.
Notice how that second syllable vowel changes a bit?
It does. It's more of a sound.
So we've got a whole range of acceptable pronunciations here.
And it really depends on where you are in the English-speaking world.
And you know what? Our source had a great tip, especially if you're ever feeling unsure about this word. Yeah, what's that?
Just say Feb.
Feb. Simple and effective.
Short, sweet, everyone understands it.
Nobody's going to bat an eyelid.
Exactly. Sometimes keeping it simple is the best strategy.
Especially with these tricky pronunciations.
All right, next word up. Recipe.
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 Yeah.
Now, where do you think learners tend to stumble with this one?
I think the most common mistake is putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Oh, the stress.
Yeah, people often say recipe,
Recipe.
stressing that second syllable.
But that's not quite right.
Not quite. The correct way to say it is R-E-H soupy.
R-E-H soupy, with the emphasis firmly on that first syllable.
Exactly.
And the good news is this pronunciation is pretty consistent across the board.
Oh, that's good to know.
Whether you're in the U.S., the U.K., Australia,
They all agree.
R-E-H soupy is the standard.
Wonderful.
So next time you're baking up a storm,
Yeah.
make sure you ask for the R-E-H soupy.
Do you have the R-E-H soupy for that?
Much more natural, right?
Yeah, it is. Much better.
Getting that stress right.
Yeah, it can really elevate your pronunciation.
It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's tackle a word with French roots that often throws people off. Genre.
Genre. Yeah, that one's tricky.
So we've got G-E-N-R-E.
A lot of learners, they try to pronounce it as genre. Just going by the letters.
Which makes sense, right?
It does. It's a logical attempt.
But English has a way of playing tricks on us.
It does, and this is a prime example.
The correct pronunciation is actually Z-H-A-H-N-ro.
Z-H-A-H-N-ru.
That ye completely transforms into a Z-H sound.
Like in measure or vision.
Exactly, it's that soft Z sound.
Voiced postalveolar fricative, if you want the technical term.
We love a good phonetic term.
We do.
But yeah, that Z-H is the key here.
It is.
In American English, it's definitely Z-H-A-H-N-ru.
Z-H-H-N-ru. Yeah.
And our source notes that British English is pretty similar.
Yeah, very similar.
Maybe a bit more crisp, a bit more distinct in the articulation.
But still, essentially Z-H-H-N-ru.
And then down in Australia, they tend to say Z-H-A-H-N-ra.
Z-H-A-N-ra. So that last vowel shifts a bit.
So even with its French origins and that tricky spelling, the pronunciation is actually pretty consistent across the board.
It is, which is nice for a change.
Okay, are you ready for a really surprising one?
Bring it on. I love a challenge.
This one is a pronunciation wild card.
Colonel?
Colonel, yeah, that's a good one.
Spell it out. C-O-L-O-N-E-L.
Wow, that's a lot of letters.
What would you expect it to sound like based on that spelling?
Honestly, I'd probably guess something like clernal.
Right? seems logical.
Yeah.
But English loves to throw curveballs.
It does. It keeps us on our toes.
The actual pronunciation is kernel.
Kernel.
Kernel, yep.
The LS have gone AWOL.
They've disappeared completely.
Vanish.
And we've somehow gained an R sound in the middle.
It's like a phantom R.
It's really quite quirky, isn't it?
It is. You'd never guess that from the spelling.
And it actually has to do with the word's history.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it comes from an older Spanish word that had an R in that spot.
So the pronunciation has stuck around even though the spelling changed.
Exactly. It's a linguistic time capsule.
Cool.
But back to the sound. Kernel.
Kernel.
That's what you'll hear in the US, the UK, and Australia.
A truly international pronunciation.
Our source did mention that the Australian pronunciation might be a tad sharper.
Yeah, bit more of a bite to it.
But the core sound is the same.
It is.
So next time you're talking about a high-ranking military officer,
Remember, it's the kernel.
the kernel gave the order.
Much better.
Right?
So fascinating how the history of a word can shape its pronunciation.
It really is.
And sometimes the spelling gets left behind.
Okay. Moving right along, let's talk about debris.
Debris.
Okay.
D-E-B-R-I-S.
This one looks deceptively simple.
What's the common mistake people make with this one?
I think a lot of people pronounce that final S.
Oh, so they say D-E-B-R-I-S.
Debris, yeah, with that sharp S sound at the end. But the correct pronunciation is actually debris.
Debris.
Debris. Yeah, that S is silent.
And the stress is on the second syllable.
And once again, we have a word where the pronunciation is pretty much universal.
Across the U.S., U.K., Australia.
Debris is the way to go.
Debris. Yep.
Another word with French roots, by the way.
Oh, those French silent letters. They get us every time.
They love to sneak in and make things interesting.
They do.
Okay, ready for a word that our source describes as a nightmare word for English learners?
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Yeah, that one can be a bit of a beast.
E-N-T-R-E-P-R-E-N-E-U-R.
Wow, that's a lot of syllables.
That's a long one, isn't it?
It is.
And a common incorrect pronunciation I've heard is entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Yeah, with the stress in the wrong place.
And some of the vowel sounds a bit off.
Yeah, it's not quite there.
So in American English, the correct pronunciation is more like A-H-N true, pru, N-O.
A-H-N true pru N-ur. Notice how that stress shifts to the end?
And those first few vowels.
They change quite a bit.
They do.
Yeah.
Now, if we go to British English, it's a bit different. On true, pru, N-Y-ur.
On true pru N-Y-ur. So that last vowel sound changes.
And then in Australia, they say on true, pru, N-ur.
On true pru N-ur. So it starts like the British version, but ends like the American one.
It's a fascinating mix, isn't it?
It is. It shows how regional variations can play out even within a single word.
So with a word like this, the best advice our source gives is to just practice.
Repetition is key.
Try saying, she's a successful AHN true pru N-ur.
She's a successful AHN true pru N-ur.
Get those sounds ingrained in your muscle memory.
Exactly. And listen to how native speakers say it.
That's always helpful.
All right, we're getting close to the end of our list.
Oh, wait, what's next?
Let's look at vehicle.
Vehicle. All right.
V-E-H-I-C-L-E.
I think a lot of learners try to pronounce every syllable very clearly.
Oh, so like vehicle.
Vehicle, yeah, very precise.
But native speakers tend to smooth it out a bit.
They do. Dropping or softening that middle sound.
It makes it sound more natural and less robotic.
Exactly. So in the U.S., you'll often hear V-E-E-cool.
E-E.
Like cool, yeah. That high sound in the middle becomes almost silent.
It's just a quick little transition.
Exactly.
And in the UK, it's similar. V-E-U-O-K-E.
That middle vowel sound is very reduced.
And then down in Australia, they go even further and say V-E-cool.
V-E-cool. It's like that middle syllable vanished completely.
It's fascinating how it evolves across different accents.
It is.
So the key here is to try to soften that middle vowel sound.
Make it more of a glide between the first and last syllables.
Aim for a smoother, faster pronunciation.
It will sound much more natural.
Okay, ready for our final word.
I am. Let's hear it.
And it's kind of fitting that it's this one. Pronunciation.
Pronunciation. The word we've been talking about all along.
The irony is not lost on me.
It is ironic, isn't it?
It is.
That the word pronunciation often gets mispronounced.
It's a bit of a meta moment.
It is. So the most common mistake I hear is people adding a noun sound in there.
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation, yeah.
Like it's related to the word pronoun.
But that's not the case at all.
Not at all. The correct way to say it is pronunciation. Pronunciation.
Pronunciation.
No noun sound anywhere in sight.
And this is a good one to remember because it's pretty much universal.
Oh, that's helpful.
Whether you're in the US, the UK, Australia, even New Zealand, our source says it's the same.
Pronunciation. Across the board.
Pronunciation. It's a pronunciation unifier.
We love to see it.
So there you have it.
There we have it.
10 commonly mispronounced English words, all laid out for you.
Hopefully a little less mysterious now.
Demystified.
Demystified, exactly.
It might not always be intuitive,
English pronunciation can be tricky.
but with a bit of awareness
And practice.
you can really refine your spoken English.
Absolutely. And sound more confident.
Exactly.
It's a journey, right?
It is a pronunciation journey.
And it's okay to make mistakes along the way.
Oh yeah, everyone does.
It's all part of the learning process.
So if you found these pronunciation tips helpful
Yeah.
and you want to keep learning,
More English tips and tricks.
we highly recommend checking out the BookTalker English Learning Zone.
That's right, the inspiration for this deep dive.
You've got tons of amazing resources.
Engaging videos, learning materials based on books, practical vocabulary. It's fantastic.
So here's a little challenge for you, our listener.
A challenge. I love it.
Which of these words surprised you the most?
Which one was the biggest shocker?
Was it kernel with those silent LS?
Or maybe genre with that unexpected ZH sound?
Or comfortable with its vanishing syllable?
Lots of good contenders.
Head over to the BookTalker English Learning Zone
The link is in the show notes.
and let us know in the comments section.
We'd love to hear from you.
And while you're there, be sure to subscribe
And turn on those notifications.
so you don't miss any of their great content.
They put out new videos all the time.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, give the video a like.
Show them some love.
And you know what? If there's enough interest,
Yeah.
we might just do a part 2
Oh, as a sequel.
with a whole new set of tricky English words.
That'd be fun.
So let us know in the comments on the BookTalker English Learning Zone.
If you're up for another round of pronunciation adventures.
We're always eager to explore more.
We are.
So keep speaking, keep listening, keep exploring the nuances of the English language.
It's a lifelong journey.
And remember, every little bit of learning you do brings you one step closer to fluency.
Embrace the challenges and celebrate your progress.
Until next time,
Happy pronouncing.
take care. Bye.
Like and subscribe.